The Developer Direct, which was yesterday's, basically Xbox's roadmap for 2024. And they knocked it out of the water. They really did. Now, going into this, I was most hyped for Avowed and seeing gameplay of Avowed. My number 2 was Aura History Untold because I love turn-based strategy games. I wanted to see what it was all about. But coming out of it, my number 1 game that I'm now most excited for is Indiana Jones. And you can see this is the part of the Developer Direct where they go over Indiana Jones. It looks fantastic. It looks like a game that is a Game Pass seller. It looks like a game that could be a console seller. It looks like a unique experience. What really stood out to me is the worlds and the world, how detailed they are. And they also just managed to capture at least in what they showed us, they really managed to capture that tongue-in-cheek Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones character. I mean, you can see some of this gameplay here where you're punching, you're using your whip, you're hiding from people right there. Like, look at that. Oh, it looks so good. I am very excited. Not to mention, Avowed looks incredibly interesting. Aura History Untold looks fantastic. It looks like they could. My brother said it the best. We were talking about it yesterday. He said it looks like Civilization 7. And it really does. It looks like they're taking that genre to the next level with what they're calling the living world aspect, where you're kind of going one level deeper there. Overall, I mean, this really sets the tone for the year. One of the surprise things that we did not know that they were going to talk about was Square Enix Visions of Mana, which dropped there. Now, Visions of Mana is not exclusive to Xbox by any means. All of the other games are. Visions of Mana is a Square Enix game from the world of Mana and the Mana series, and it just shows, in my opinion, that was a flex from Xbox, just showing, hey, we're here, we're serious about Japanese developers, we're serious about Japanese games. Look at the relationship we now have with Square Enix. This is coming to Xbox. You're no longer going to miss out on these games, Xbox players, Xbox gamers. In fact, some of them might come to Game Pass. So I thought that was fantastic. Overall, again, I think it just sets the tone for the new year. So let's go over some questions here that I wrote down just, with regards to this Developer Direct. How will the release of these high-profile games impact the competition between Xbox and other gaming platforms in 2024? This is the first time. It's basically a roadmap. If you've not watched it, it's about 40 minutes long. Fun fact, this cracks me up. In all of these, they go through each of the studios, and in each one, they always show, there's always a shot of like developers outside having a good time at their work or playing pool or something like that. And it makes me laugh, like, hey guys, this is a fun place to work. Also right here in this video, see how they're scanning? That must be the costume of Indiana Jones. I want that scanner. If that scanner turns stuff into 3D and puts it on a computer, I don't know what I would do with it. I'm not a developer. I'm not a creator, but it's cool, man. That is cool. Anyways, how do these high-profile games impact the competition between Xbox and other gaming platforms in 2024? I think, again, it just sets the tone. This is the first time in at least a decade where I don't see how anyone else can keep up with Xbox, where Xbox is at the very least right there with the big boys as far as games that I want to play, as far as games that I'm excited for in 2024, as far as new IPs coming in the form of Indiana Jones to Xbox and Game Pass, in the form of Aura History Untold, in the form of Avowed, and Hellblade. Don't forget Hellblade. I almost forgot Hellblade. We're getting Hellblade as well. Hellblade was actually the only game that we got a date for. That's dropping in May, I want to say, was the date for that. Just those games alone, keep in mind, we haven't even had the Activision Blizzard, anything from them yet. And we haven't had like the E3 moment, which is going to be in a few months as well. Like, this really sets the tone, guys. And I think it's going to impact the competition. If you're an executive at, for instance, Sony, or you've got to be sitting back and saying, oh shit, like this is the snowball is starting to roll. The rock is beginning to roll down the mountain, and that rock is Xbox, and Xbox looks like a powerhouse. And some of you might be saying, well, you're just an Xbox fanboy. Of course you're going to say that. No, objectively speaking, watch this Developer Direct. watch it. It really sets the tone in a big way. And we haven't had 4 major titles, new IPs coming to Xbox in at least a decade. Not to mention games coming from like a Square Enix day one as well. So yeah, I think it's huge. I think Xbox again has set the tone here, particularly against the competition. My favorite, like I said, if I were to rank this, Indiana Jones, I'm showing the Indiana Jones part of the developer direct because I think that was number 1 in my opinion, and I didn't think that going in. I wasn't as excited about Indiana Jones. Now I am. Indiana Jones looks fantastic. Well done for that. Number 2, it's probably a toss up between Avowed and Aura. For me, it's probably Aura. Actually, I'll probably give the nod to Aura because I just like that style. I like what they're doing there. I like trying to push that genre, the turn-based Civilization-esque genre forward, the 4X strategy genre forward. My only disappointment there is it's not coming to console on day one, which, hello, your Xbox. I feel like that should be a thing. I mean, I have no doubt we'll get it eventually. But it is only coming to PC. At least that's what they said during this, or showed at the end of this developer direct after they showed Aura. So next question, what do the gameplay and story reveals of Avowed and Senua Saga Hellblade 2 suggest about the future direction of Xbox exclusive titles? I mean, I think those are 2 different games. What you're getting with Avowed is reminiscent of the old school Fallouts. It's reminiscent of Outer World. Obsidian has a distinct style, and they're sticking with it here with Avowed. The worlds that they showed off in Avowed look fantastic. They showed a little bit of combat off in Avowed, and the combat in Avowed, you can switch between like your magic and your melee weapons, and like for instance, he'll pull out a wand. They zap a guy, hold him in place, and then he whips out his sword and starts slashing them, and it is in first person there, which of course has that Skyrim-esque feel to it as well. And then you go over to Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, and I do think with Hellblade 2, I'm getting the impression anyways that with Hellblade 2, they're leaning more into action in this. Not that, keep in mind, Hellblade is a puzzle game. It is. It's an auditory exploration of storytelling. So they tell the story through your headset. If you have never played Hellblade, go play Hellblade, but make sure you play with a headset. It will blow your mind. It's a really cool concept. No other game, I think, has quite done it in the way that Hellblade has done it. But it's definitely not like a God of War action style game. It is a puzzle game. But having said that, I do think there's a sweet spot. I think they could move a little bit more action. From what they're showing off, it looks like that's what they're doing, and I think it would open it up to a wider audience. But what do these 2 titles suggest? I mean, why don't we include Indiana Jones in that question as well? What do all of these titles suggest about the future direction of Xbox exclusive titles? I think Xbox is correct in, hey, we acquired these studios, but we're hands off as far as letting them develop what they develop. Whether you're Ninja Theory, whether you're Machine Games, whether you are Obsidian, where you do what you're good at. Go, and that looks to be, at least with this batch of games, exactly the direction that is happening. So I think Xbox exclusive titles will have variety in storytelling. I think they'll have variety in gameplay and gameplay mechanics, which is fantastic and is exactly what you need if Game Pass is your main focus for the future. Last question here. Considering the mixed reactions to game formats, for example, first person versus third person, what should developers prioritize for future gaming experiences? I don't think that they should prioritize either. I think they should prioritize whatever's best for their game. The reason I brought this up is because a lot of people are disappointed that Indiana Jones here is in first person, not third person. And they talked about it. It does go back to third person when you're doing stuff like climbing or swinging, but it is a first person game. And when you look at these kind of games like Tomb Raider or any of these, archaeological adventure games, if you're Nathan Drake over on PlayStation playing as him, you get to see these characters. And I get why that's a thing, but Machine Games, Wolfenstein is in first person. That's their big title recently. And from what they're showing, would it be cool to see indie in third person? Yeah, but if you develop fantastic first person, I actually think first person is more immersive. It makes you feel like the character. I don't need to necessarily see Indiana Jones to be playing as Indiana Jones. So I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't think that I think gaming companies and gaming developers should prioritize whatever works best for their game, whatever they feel tells the story the best. I don't think they should try to fit into a box of either or. And Machine Games here clearly feels that first person view is that, and good for them. I'm very excited to experience that. I would love to know what you guys think though. What was your top game of show? Do you think it set the tone for Xbox? Do you think it was a big deal? I think it was a big deal. I think last year it was not this. There was kind of some question mark games there last year. We did get a shadow drop of Hi-Fi Rush, which was amazing last year at this time, but we didn't have 4 titles plus Square Enix like this. I thought the presentation was decent. It was just around 40 minutes, not too long. Definitely wasn't Game Awards long. I think Game Awards is way too long. And so you were able to really dive in deep and get to know everything. In fact, let's go back to here's my number 2 game here, and it is Aura History Untold. I think just does it to me, right? And this is an example too of the variety that Game Pass offers. Not that Game Pass offers, but the direction that Microsoft is going in offering this variety. Microsoft has really led the way with the kind of this resurgent of real-time strategy games. So much so that I've jumped into Halo Wars 2 recently this last week and have checked it out, and it's a fantastic game. And I love that Xbox is bringing back these real-time strategy focus, these turn-based strategy types of games. I think Baldur's Gate is really opening us up, the success of a Baldur's Gate 3, to showing game developers, hey, develop what you like. It doesn't have to be niche. It can have huge commercial success like Baldur's Gate 3 has. I mean, traditionally that was viewed as a very niche game, and clearly it's not. And I think turn-based strategy and real-time strategy, I think the height of that was probably StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2 era, early 2000s there, where we were at the height, late 90s, where there was just so many varieties and everybody was dropping, there was just so many options for real-time strategy, turn-based strategy. It feels like Microsoft is kind of leading the charge there, and I'm here for it. Not to mention, they've got a really close relationship with Paradox Interactive, and Paradox Interactive is the king of 4X strategy, and I've been enjoying all those titles as well. But yeah, overall, would love to know what you guys think. I was very, very positive, or left feeling very positive on this developer direct. India came away with Indie, Aura, and Avowed, top 3 right there. Not that I'm not for Senua. I think Senua is going to be fantastic. Very much enjoyed it, but from this, what we saw, I got more hyped for those 3 games, for sure. Let me know. Love hanging out with you guys. I'm X1 the Gamer. Hit that like button and subscribe. Drop in your comments any opinions or thoughts you have on this, and let's start a discussion. I love hanging out, talking games with you guys Monday through Friday right here on this channel. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you guys next time.